We should be going here in just a second.
Kinda hard to get a job like that on the block. Charge that. Young girl, she grew up in a rush. Headed back, no doubt she don't know who to
Welcome
trust.
everyone.
She
We'll wait for some people to come here.
Charge that. But it's all perfect. Shots get popped, the cops shut down the party. Jeans sag low, blow smoke out of the juice. We got along, we got shot
All right. So, got about a minute. We'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
After I expand this, I don't have any. All right. Let me stop the share. And we're live. All right. Welcome everybody to Bread and Butter. We are so excited. We have some new people on today to introduce. And just FYI to y'all, I just went ahead and put it on 3-person view because for right now, and then I'll switch to 1 person here in a second. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, for everybody who's tuned in. This is going to be part 1 of a series that we're doing within Bread and Butter, which is Play-Doh. This will focus on building Black wealth in our children and having those conversations with our children. So today, Mahogany is not with us, but we are sending her good vibes and traveling graces as she goes to Washington this weekend. And in her place today, we have one of our other sisters. We have Daphne. Daphne is here. She is our pop's new communications outreach specialist, so she will be our beautiful co-host today. And then our special guest that we have today is Miss Stacy Dye.
Bailey and Jai.
Yeah, okay.
Bailey and Jai.
Trying so hard to get that right because I've been saying it a different way for a long time. But we are so blessed to have you in our presence today to talk about Bridge Kids and their Kizazi Fund. So now I'm going to turn it over to Daphne and just let her tell you guys a little bit about who she is and welcome her on to the Bread and Butter family and just give us a little overview of what you do within our pod.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daphne Walker. I'm new to the RPOP team, but super excited to be here. Super excited to be a part of Bread and Butter. So I am the communication and outreach specialist at RPOP. I will be handling things like social media. I will also be doing some graphic design and being in the community and trying to get people to access our resources that we offer and all the other great opportunities that our pop has to hold. So
all right, thank you so much. And y'all give me 1 second. I'm actually trying to pull up the live on Facebook so that we can communicate with you all. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the comment section because we will be answering those for you. If you just so happen to tune in after we've already ended the session, don't worry because y'all know we're going to come back and look at those questions and answer them on our next Bread and Butter. or we will respond to the comments in the comment section. So give me 1 second and you can go ahead. Oh, and we already have a comment. Hey, Miss Jackie. And so keep in mind that this is a few seconds off. It's a few seconds delay on our Facebook page. So if we don't get to you right then, just give us about 5 or 10 seconds and we'll get to you. But we're saying hi to Miss Jackie, who is our lead community outreach specialist for ARPOP. So like I said, today is going to be part 1 in our 3-part series, which is Play-Doh. We're talking about building generational wealth with our children. So today we have Miss Stacy to come on. She is going to give us a brief overview of her program and her business, which is the Bridge Kids International. So she'll give us a brief overview of that, and then she'll go into something that they have going on called the Kizazi Fund that will help you build financial wealth for your children, and establish that as what's the youngest. Well, we'll find out the information. So first, everybody, welcome Miss Stacy on. Miss Stacy, can you just give us an interview of who you are, your experiences, and then give us a little overview of Bridge Kids?
Sure. Okay. So again, my name is Stacy Bailey Njai, and I have been living here in Louisville when I came in 2005. So that's been 15 years now. I'm originally from New York City, and my background really is in higher education and student development, and then some social justice work as well. But I left my career in higher ed to focus all of my attention on Bridge Kids International, which is the global nonprofit organization which I co-founded. And we focus on 2 things mainly. We focus on using African heritage culture really as a tool to build the kind of communities that support the well-being of young people. And then we focus on helping youth and young adults and their communities to develop some of their own solutions to challenges in their lives. And so it's about like self-determination and not waiting for somebody else to always come with their solutions. But
Okay.
there are always things when we tap into our power, there are always things that we can do now. And it may not fix the whole big, issue or whole big problems, but we start small and then build up from there. And so, as I mentioned, we're a global organization, and we actually started out as a global organization and not really doing work in the United States. But then once I moved to Louisville and decided to sort of get settled here, then we moved Bridge Kids here. But we are in the countries we're in Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Rwanda, Senegal, and here in the US. And so groups work on, we have 5 focus areas, and it's economic development, education, environment, girls' rights, and health. And young people design community-based projects based upon that. So we have a broad range of things that our young folks are doing around the world, from like starting their own quail farm in Malawi to like actually starting their own school in Ghana and doing water projects. But it's about young people doing that themselves. In fact, in Louisville, we're just starting to work with a group of young Burundi, a group of Burundi young adults who asked us actually to help us. But we focus on communities of people of African heritage. So that's African, African American, Caribbean, just like the whole Africa and the African diaspora. So it's just Black people, like however, whatever form we come in and wherever we are, that's like who we focus on. So, that's a little bit about Bridge Kids and some of the programs that we do here in Louisville. So what we do in Louisville looks a little bit different from what we do around the world, because here in Louisville, we also, the organization itself, Bridge Kids, we also have our own programs. And so we do the African Heritage Festival that's held annually. We have a 7 Generations African Heritage Culture Camp for children and teens. We do a program called Cooking with Kin, and another one called We Made It / Sisters with Power Tools, because we really believe that we focus on, we call it building our creative confidence. So if we're going to be solving problems, we have to build our belief in ourselves that we can solve those problems. And so that takes our creativity. And so our programs like We Made It, where we actually get in the shop and make things, are about that. When you trust me, that's helped me a lot in terms of building my skills and like making things. And when you like it, it's just as empowering. So the cooking is part of that. We have a STEAM club and then a program called Brown Girls Living Out Loud, Brown Girls LOL, where it's just Brown Girl Adventures. And once a month, we take an adventure. And so Mahogany Mayfield and I do that program together. And and then we do other things. And so we also have this group called the African Heritage Culture Project. And it started with an effort we called Mending the Bridge, where it was building relationships between Africans and African Americans, people of the Caribbean here in the city, because we feel like there's a need for that. I mean, and that's where the African Heritage Festival came out of, that desire to build those relationships. Because, at Bridge Kids, we, in addition to having those groups all around the world, we connect up with each other, so it's also about the power of those relationships. And so the African Heritage Culture Project is it's a group of, again, Africans, African Americans, working together to look at some of our cultural practices that have worked, right? And maybe we've gotten away from them, or maybe we don't know about them here, and then trying to adapt those to address some of the challenges in our communities. And out of that process, so we sit around and talk and brainstorm and come up with lots of different cultural practices, because there are a number of different groups that are represented in that group. And I was talking to a young man, Dr. Patrick Latanga. He just got his PhD, so I like saying Dr. Latanga.
Yes, doctor.
we were talking about, he said, there's this group called the Nande in Congo. And he said, like, almost nobody is poor amongst them, because they're herders. And so when a child is born, people will bring livestock, members of the community, members of the family, in the name of the child. And someone will be selected to care for that and grow it. And as the child grows up, they become an apprentice. They learn how to take care of it. And when they reach adulthood, they start out with wealth. Excuse me. And so,
that is awesome.
Yes, exactly. And so we took that concept. That's what we said. I mean, I must have pondered that for months. I was like, wow. But we don't deal in, excuse me, in livestock here. So so what the Kizazi Fund is an adaptation of that practice. And it's not just the Nande, actually. Herding communities around Africa do this. And so Kizazi means generation in Swahili. And so the idea of the Kizazi Fund is that it's a system. So it is, I wrote it down to make sure I get this right: child-focused, culturally based, community-centered, generational wealth building strategy.
Yes, come on through. Can you say that again?
Yeah, it is child-focused, culturally based, and community centered. All right. So it's child focused because it's about growing wealth for the child as they grow up into maturity. And when they reach adulthood, they make a decision on how they want to use that money, but they're prepared for it. And so I'll get into it in a second. Well, I'll just say it now, since they can use the money for home ownership, for education, or entrepreneurship, because we believe those are three avenues that help continue to build wealth in families. So here's the way it works. So the money, families will sign up their children, and it's from birth. You can sign up generally from birth to age 13, and we're doing a pilot year this year to really figure out what that's going to look like. We may stretch it a little bit, we'll see. And so the idea is that families put in about $250 a year. So that's about $20 a month. So it's meant to be accessible, and it's per child in the name of the child. And
Yeah.
so the money is held collectively and is collectively invested. Because like if you just put that money in a savings account, you're getting next to zero interest. If we put it in an investment fund, we're looking at around 7%. So that is like significantly different. So whereas it may take one person quite a long time to develop enough money to be in an investment fund, if we pull that money together, it gives us more power and more flexibility in that fund to grow that fund and even make some investment decisions together, those kinds of things. So over the life, huh?
I just wanted to highlight how that, with us starting these conversations about generational wealth building, that is the perfect example of how everybody can play a part in not only your family's financial wealth and your family's wealth, period. It may not be financial wealth, but whatever your definition of wealth is for your family, it can also coincide with what that looks like for our community. So once you define that for yourself and for your family, then you have something like the Kizazi Fund that can help you do that familial and that communal wealth building. So that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's great because I think that community focus, we're trying to tap into what are the values that are ours, that's not somebody else kind of defining for us what our values should be,
Mm-hmm.
and then building from that and finding the strength in our own approaches, our own way of doing things. And so okay, so families, each family, so it's monthly, and you can do more than $250, a month. And your grandma can give money, like anybody can contribute, to the fund, so. And that fund is grown again over the lifetime. So it's based on the power of compound interest, basically, because it's money over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so each child has their own account, and it is in trust, so you can't take the money out. Okay, and it's in the child's name. And so that's something that families really have to understand. But it's really important because we all know that emergencies happen, things happen, and many of us may start a savings account, but then we have something come up, and we need to access that money for good reason, so there's not. But this is something that's set aside, for the child. And there's a lot of research out there that shows that when a child has a savings account, even if there's only like $5 in it, but if they know that there's a savings account for them, it has a significant impact on their educational outcomes, just their outlook. There are many different sort of indicators that you can look at about how that impacts the life of the child. And so over the course of the child's life, families will meet quarterly. So they'll be in like a cohort to support each other. And we'll have financial education programs. We have partners who are also participating. I'll talk about that in a second. And so we'll do that education. And then on the off months, they'll get more, ideas about how they can have conversations. Kids will have age appropriate activities to do. And there's a lot of growth, in that area. And then we have another concept that's an important part of this called Kizazi credits. So the families put in money, but then there's other money from the community. And Kizazi credits are deposits into the child's account for positive action, right? So like if you have a little baby who's not, they're focusing on growing, like they're not, that's what they're doing. But every time the family takes their child to their well child visit, like that year, you can get Kizazi credits for that. Like that's money that'll go into their account. If when the child gets older, they can get money for their grades, Kizazi credits for grades, for attendance, for being involved in the community, for doing a personal vision statement. There's a whole long list of things. And so that's a way for them to actively begin to take on the responsibility of being a good member of the community, a productive member of the community, and doing the kinds of things that are going to really enhance their life so that they grow up. Again, this is not just about money. It's about a holistic way of thinking about, child development and building a supportive community, around the child. And as they get older, they begin to make decisions again about how they want to use their money. And there'll be a process that they'll have a team around them that can help them do that. And we're talking about apprenticeships. I mean, just all kinds of things really, because this is one thing that one of the values that this will build is long-term planning and long-term thinking. And this is something for the long haul, and we're not used to programs like that, that are about something that, this is like 18, 20 years like from now. But I tell you what, if we don't start thinking like that, things are not going to change, and so we said, well, that's what it is, and that's what we're going to do. But Kizazi credits are also a way that people, if you donate, to the Kizazi fund, that's one of the ways that we would use that funding to support, families during, with the Kizazi fund. So I talked about supporting the kids, but those family gatherings that we have, the kids are getting education and the families also doing education, both in financial education, as well as they'll get a little bit of child development too. And so with our partners, we will plug them into, I'll give you a couple, plug them into financial support to reach their goals. So this is about raising up the whole family. It's not just about the child. So for instance, we're partnering with El Home, and they already have an emergency loan fund. So remember I talked about, you can't take money out. It's not like a regular savings account, but if families find themselves in a pickle where they need a little bit of, extra assistance to get over that hump, they already have this fund in place, and it's for people in certain zip codes. But Kizazi families, no matter where they are, they can access this fund too. So you can get $500, and you pay it back over the course of a year. We're also in conversation with the Urban League, and they have their home ownership programs, their renters programs, where they have special savings programs where money can get matched. I mean, all kinds. So it's about creating this network, right? And wrapping our arms together around the family, but with the child in the center of it. Okay. So that's what it's about.
So can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a limit on how many families and children can participate?
Well, for this first year, we're doing a pilot year because we need to work out the kinks, because this is dealing with money. This got a lot of layers to it. So we're starting out with 20 families. And so I assume that's going to be somewhere around, between 30 and 40 kids. Yeah. And then we have two types of ways that you can join. One, families are called like legacy families, where you can just do it. Like you got the money, if that's not going to be too much of a stretch for you, just do it. And then we'll have a few rising families. And those are families who totally get it. They're totally committed. They're going to be at all the gatherings, like for a year, doing the things that make a commitment to get on their path. And for those rising families, they'll contribute some, and then the Kizazi fund will work out a plan, and they'll say, okay, well, in 6 months or 8 months, I'm going to be able to take that over myself and become like a legacy family. But I just need some assistance until I get it. But I'm working plan and all of that. And so we'll put in some, they'll put in some, and then when they reach their goal with the support of the network, then they become a legacy family too, and they just take over those payments.
Well, shoot, I have a son, Miss Stacy.
yes, that's why I'm doing it. Yes, please.
Signing up.
How old is your son?
He's 6.
Yes, perfect. And that we're talking about all these great educational stuff that we're doing, like hands-on learning about just money, and it's not, and it's more than financial wellness. It's about also dreaming. Yes. Yes, like if you know that you have a community. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that while you're growing up, as a child, I was always asked what I want to do when I grow up, what I want to be. And this just, I feel like, makes it a lot more fathomable for our youth. because
exactly it.
If you know that you're gonna graduate from high school and you're gonna have a little extra money to do the things that you need to do, give you that boost, whether it's something like being able to get your school supplies for college, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That makes it a lot more felt like I can do that, like I'll be able to do that. And knowing that growing up is
and check this part out. Okay, so I didn't say, okay, our goal is, like, if folks were to start at birth, right? Our goal is to have $10,000, per child. But because again, this is about, it has to do with time. Later, you're gonna have to do a little bit more to get to that amount, right? So, but they can leave the money in their account until the age of 30. They don't have to take the money out at 18. And so when we talk about home ownership and entrepreneurship, like, that's real. And so that money will grow more. You can take part of the money if you need extra money for college or whatever, or it could be trade school, what kind of education makes sense for you. You can take part of the money, leave the rest in there for it to grow. Add some more for it. And it's funny because, like, on our website, we have a scenario, and it's Malcolm and Maya, right? And there, she said she has her story growing up and he has his story growing up. And then they get married, right? When they're like 25, 26, and they're both Kizazi kids, and they put their money together, and they're able to get like their down payment on their house, and and even use money to start. They really, if you just do the math, they have enough to do that. And because they have all these connections in the community, they can probably get, like, real low interest loans and all that kind of stuff. Because when we talk about entrepreneurship, that's one of the biggest barriers, is being able to get access to capital to do that. And so we're building those relationships.
That's amazing. I can't wait. Have you already put out a flyer or any promotion?
Yeah, it's out. Yeah, we have, it's on, we would put it on Facebook, and it's the website is Kizazi, KIZAZI fund.org, KizaziFunds.org. You can get there from the Bridge Kids website too. And there's an application, a short application. You fill out the application, and soon we're going to be doing an interview or a conversation with each family individually. You need to know kind of where you are, in your journey and all of that, and making sure folks really understand, because it is a commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there a deadline for the sign up?
September 15th is the deadline. So we have a couple more weeks, and so we really want people to sign up.
Awesome. This is really exciting.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of dope work.
Now, I have a question too. So, say, I know it's for families, but do you have to, is it like a separate situation for each individual child? Like, say if the family has like 3 children, do they put $20 a month per child, or is that $20 like split amongst the 3 children? How does that work?
No, it, like, what we're trying to get to is the $20 per child, but we know, okay, so you folks may be able to do that for 1 child. Maybe you can do it for 2. Maybe you start to get to 3 and it gets to be like a little, too much. And so the same way we have support for rising families, I think it's going to be really important for us to have some support for families with, multiple children. But the idea is that each child has their own fund. Yeah.
So, with that being said, does the family have to fill out an application for each child, or will one child cover the whole family?
No, it's for each child. And the way the application is set up is you can put down like multiple kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's per child. And maybe, I don't know, people could decide, okay, well, I'm going to try this out with 1 child and we'll see how that goes. And then, we'll go to, maybe we'll add more, so I think we just want to talk to people and see how to make it work, for families. And like I said, this first year, we're really looking for folks to give us some grace too, because we're just, trying to figure things out with the pilot. But, I forgot to say that our financial partner is Park Community Credit Union. Yes. And so they're holding the account, and they've been supportive of this whole process. We've been working on this for probably about 1.5 years.
Okay. And Park Community is actually one of our POP's partners as well. So that's
awesome. I know. They're fabulous.
We do have a comment in the comment section, a question, Miss Jackie would like to know, can a grandmother participate with her grandson?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so she would just need to fill out the application for her grandson and then she would get it in his name.
Yep. It's always in the child's name, but we have like, the contact person, because of course we're communicating with the adults,
Right.
while especially, on certain things. And as the young people get older, we'll be communicating, directly with them on other things too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So just if anybody else has any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. Yep, we are doing really, really good on time as well. So this has really been great. I had another question and it just slipped my mind. Daphne, do you have any more questions?
I'm trying to think off of the top of my head. I don't have any questions at the moment, but I'm super excited that this is happening, and I will be a tester and go.
Yeah, no, yes.
Go through all the kinks, and Keith is gonna be set when he's grown. So
That's right.
No, that's exactly. And please, like, spread the word. I mean, if you have, been
that's
friends
why I asked
and
about this flyer.
huh?
I said yes. I'll definitely share the word. That's why I asked about the flyer.
Okay, yeah. There's I think I sent it to Play Cousins, like, in the network, but it's on Bridge Kids Facebook page. It's on and we'll be doing more notices. We'll be sending more notices out. I sent the first one out last week, but we'll just be pushing it out some more. And one of the things that like with Bridge Kids, like I said, like we try to make sure we keep most of what we do culturally centered. And I just wanted to make a plug. We do have an event coming up on Saturday at 11 a.m. Since we cannot have the African Heritage Festival this year, we are doing an event called Pan-Africanism Today. And it'll be streamed on Facebook Live. And there's also a Zoom, it's going to be a Zoom call as well. And because we try to keep that focus on, like I said, looking at our culture and our history as a strength. And I think the Kizazi Fund is a great example of how we can get creative, but keep our culture centered in what we do.
I did just think of one question.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the credit, the incentive, for positive. How is that?
Uh-huh.
How do the parents report that, or how do you all?
Yes. So what we'll do, we'll have a list of things that you can get credit for. Oh, there's another thing I want to add too. So, list of things you can get credit for, and so families would. So say it's going to be for grades. Say it's that. Families can upload the report card. So we need some kind of proof, and it'll depend on what the credits are for. And so then we'll have that, and we have a platform that we're using, and we'll be able to communicate with you. You can upload stuff. We'll send you messages, send messages back, that kind of thing. And it's based on that. And then all the credits for that year get deposited in the child's account on their birthday month, like during their birthday month. So they can rack up their credits during the year. And then it's like a birthday present, this extra money that goes into their account. And then again, this is separate. I mean, you should still have a savings account for your kids, like, which is separate from this. You should still, so they're having that interaction with money. But that's where a lot of in our parent group, folks have all kinds of different tips for things that they do to make their money work for them, and for ways to, plan and make ends meet, whatever it is. If we'll have entrepreneurs, we'll have people, and that's one thing. I mean, the Kizazi Fund, it's not based on your family's income necessarily, because you can have people that make $100,000 a year, and this still makes sense for them, and people who make $25,000 or less, whatever a year, and it makes sense for them, So it's about mixing and us sharing our wisdom with each other. The other thing I wanted to say is that we'll have an advisory board for this that's made up of some of the family members, some of the people from our board, from the African Heritage Culture Project, our partners, who will make the decisions about, again, there'll be investment decisions that'll need to be made. There'll be, some policy decisions, those kinds of things. And so that board will be responsible. So, families are right, again, at the heart and center of this.
This is awesome. I cannot wait to see this just blow up because I can already tell it's going to be something big and huge. So I just can't wait to see it blow up to what I know that it's going to be. And I also just love the fact that it is establishing that wealth, establishing that change of mind, that change of heart in regards to saving for your children. Sometimes, yes, it's okay to have something in a pickle, but it's also okay to let it sit there and build more wealth, you know. um I feel like as a culture that's something that we need to pay more attention to and we need to highlight. So I'm just thankful that you guys decided to start this, and I hope that this sparks other people to bring on these generational wealth building initiatives with their families, their children, and their communities. I especially love the Kizazi Fund because it's not just something that's individualized, it's also communal. And y'all know with our pop, and then we come from Play Cousins, with Play Cousins and with Bridge Kids, it's all about building that village. So I love this. It seems like this is something that the whole community can take part in. um I even feel like I can take part even though I don't have children. It's something that I can still take part in.
No, absolutely. And we'll be doing like Wealth Wednesdays that will be like, we'll do, posts and stuff every Wednesday for different tips for the community. And then a few times a year, 2 or 3 times a year, we want to do just general education stuff open to the whole community, and especially about more, how do you pass down? Because like generational wealth is wealth that is passed down. Okay. So you need to have something to pass down in order to have generational wealth. But when we look at that, the sort of, as a friend of mine calls it, the fourth quarter of life, how do we plan for our future, even as individuals, as when we imagine ourselves as seniors, what are the things we need to do now? There are things you could do now when you're young that'll put you in better place for that. So all of this planning, there's a lot of information that we just have not had the information like growing up, not had a culture of having that information and sharing that information. And that's what we're trying to do. And I know all of us are trying to do that, right? To begin to develop the sort of the group knowledge around this so we can share with each other, develop strategies that are concrete, like we're doing with the Kizazi Fund. But imagine if you grew, I mean, I think at my age now, because I'm like, past grown, if I had, certain things had I known, when I was younger, I might have done them. There's certain things that I just fell into, that I learned about that I'm so glad, I did. Like, where do you develop your pots of money, so that when you need them, you can access, you may not have to go to the bank and try to get a loan. You may have some other pots that you have. Well, what are those? Those are the kinds of things that we need to know about so that we can have a better financial health, which impacts our physical health. It impacts our mental and emotional health, and so, again, unforeseen things happen all the time, but we can be resilient when we have, some knowledge and also some tools in our back pocket to be able to withstand, some difficult times. Like we know, like we're in some of those times right now. People who had like their savings, some stacked up in different places, and they can grab money from here or there. They're able to maneuver things, a little bit better than if there really is nothing there, to grab from. And so, like, how do we build that, in ways that are manageable, for people?
One thing that I think is really cool, just to add, is that this could be opportunity for families too, like your, not just your immediate family, but your extended family. So like for Keith's birthday next year, I could just ask people, hey, if you guys want to put something into his Kizazi Fund, that'll be great. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, that is a mood.
Thank you for saying
Yes.
that. And that's to me, and thank you for saying that, Daphne, because when I talk about this, I always say, $250, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
not hard to get. Imagine, what do we spend at Christmas time? What do
Mm-hmm.
we spend on birthdays? And just like if you ask folks just to give $5, $10, you would get and more. And
Right.
you're right, because and then you get a chance to explain, well, this is what this is for. It like you're
Right.
so right. It begins to share this message
Mm-hmm.
way more broadly. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like
Jeez,
exactly the way we're thinking about
yeah.
this.
No,
Yeah.
I already have a plan.
So, we do have
Absolutely.
another question in the comment section. Cicely would like to know, she missed the beginning, so can you plug the website where she can find more information? And we
Yes.
can also take this time to just plug in all the ways that they can reach you either on social media or your different websites. And I'm gonna
Sure.
put the
Okay.
Kizazi Fund in the comments as well.
Okay, so kizazifunds.org is the website, and that's where the application is and all this information. You could also reach us from bridge-kids.org, which is Bridge Kids International site. Bridge Kids International has Facebook page, it's on there. We do have Instagram, but we don't use it as much as we should. But those are the ways that you can get. But kizazifunds.org, KIZAZI fund.org is really the best place to go.
Okay. And then tell us one more time the event that's going on this Saturday, because I think that that would be, if anybody is planning on, if you are thinking about applying, excuse me, for the Kazazi Fund, and if this wasn't enough, if you want to get a better feel of Bridge Kids, which I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm so sad that the African American Heritage Festival is not happening this year, because when it is in person, it is absolutely amazing and fun. It's a whole Black marketplace going on. There's all types of food. So if you want to know a little bit more, make sure you join them on Saturday for what's going on Saturday again.
Yeah, it's just we're having just a Zoom conversation about Pan-Africanism today. And I am going to be talking about the Kizazi Fund, because it's about, again, this came out of Africans and African Americans working together, and that's what it's like. It's really taking a look at, first of all, what's been done in the past, and there's a lot to share about what has happened in the past in terms of a whole Pan-African mindset. But then, what can we do today, and where are we going in the future? So it's called Pan-Africanism Today. It's at 11 o'clock.
Okay, awesome. And make sure that you send me that flyer as well, and we can share it on our
Okay,
podcast.
yeah, I'll send you that today, and I'll make sure that you have the Kizazi Fund. You have that web address, right?
Yes, I have the address, and I also have the flyer as well.
Okay, good.
Mhm. And then also Miss Cicely Douglas just wanted to say, awesome, thank you. She said this is exactly what our community needs.
Yay! Help spread the word, please.
Yes, please, please, please spread the word. But we would like to just thank you so much again, Miss Stacy, for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
This was very enlightening, and I can't wait. Y'all, I'm getting baby fever just thinking about it. So I can set up a Kazazi fund for them. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be a good play cousin and a good auntie Christian and whatever until that happens. So this is awesome. We just want to leave you guys with a few things to look forward to. So, of course, this was our part one in the Play-Doh series. We'll have two more parts. We got some awesome guests coming up in the next few months. So, make sure you guys are still tuning in. Don't forget about our Kicking It with Play Cousins, which happens every second Tuesday of the month. So, this upcoming September is going to be a busy month for us, but we're going to be partnering with Thrive, and we're excited about that. We'll also be doing some partnerships with Youth Build. So make sure you guys are putting these things on your calendar. And I'll turn it over to Daphne so you can tell us a little bit about what's going on with our Pops virtual events we have and just anything else we have going on.
So the main thing that I would like to bring to everyone's attention is that the Community Foundation's Gift for Good Louisville will be coming up on September 17th. And that is just a day of giving and donations. And of course, I'm here to ask you all to support Russell Place of Promise on that day. And there will be more posts and information leading up to that day. And I just would like for you all to keep that on your radar. Other than that, we've got a few things getting ready to grow with our Russell community, with our Russell for Russell coalition. Be on the lookout for information about that, because we will be looking for folks to be a part of the decision making in the Russell community. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you all.
So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Miss Stacy, for coming on again. And that's about all. If anybody else has any more questions, y'all go ahead and continue to put those into the comment section. But we're gonna go ahead and end it. So we'll see you
Thank
guys next
you
month.
for having
Thank
me.
you.
Yay, thank you.